Are your clients your aspirational partners? Keep listening to understand the difference between watching your competitors and watching your clients. Hi, Shannon Waller here, and welcome to Inside Strategic Coach with Dan Sullivan. Dan, we've been working on our newest book, and you said something that I thought, I want to have a deeper conversation about this, so this is the perfect place to do it. One of the things that you talked about was there's a big difference between watching your competitors and watching or paying attention to your clients. And there's a lot of offshoots in different places we can go with that, but you have a definite preference for which one you think is smart.
The idea for this was really triggered from the top program in Strategic Coach. So we have 3 levels. First level is Signature Program. Second level is the 10 Times Ambition Program. And the third level, where I'm now drawing all my new ideas from, is called the Free Zone Frontier. Just extraordinarily innovative clients and customers of Strategic Coach are in that program. The thing about this is there's this kind of binary decision you have to make as an entrepreneur when you're trying to grow your company. What are you paying attention to? You're paying attention to people outside your company, but which people outside of your company are you paying attention to? I will say that for quite a long time, and I would say it's probably almost 30 years, I haven't paid any attention to any coaching competitors. I just have not paid any attention to coaching competitors for 30 years. People say, well, have you seen what so-and-so is doing? I said, I don't know who so-and-so is. Well, have you read this book? And I said, no, I have not read this book. And they get frustrated after I give them about 5 or 6 answers that say, I have to tell you, I have the foggiest idea who the competitors are to the Strategic Coach. I said, I don't spend a minute of my time or thinking about it. And they said, well, what do you pay attention to? I say, I've got some phenomenally great entrepreneurial clients, and what I try to do is to become deeply knowledgeable about what their aspirations are for the future of growing themselves in a professional way, but also growing themselves in a personal way. And I am just listening and making notes about where they're going next with their lives. They said, well, why is that important? You're selling coaching. There's lots of people who sell coaching. And I said, well, my coaching isn't really fixed. My coaching is continually transformed, and I've got clients, I've got about 6 of them in the next 6 months who are in their 30th year of Strategic Coach, and they've been growing for 30 years, and I've seen them 4 times a year times 30 years. I've seen them 120 times, and every time they come back, they have a bigger goal here. They want to become better here. And I'm just paying attention. And then I compare notes, and, I'll get a point that this is probably good for, what I'm going to create new. It'll be good at some point to all of them. And I call this DOS. And the DOS is they have certain dangers they're trying to eliminate. They have certain opportunities that they're trying to capture, and they have certain strengths that they're trying to maximize. And every day they are experiencing life as an entrepreneur. And this is, again, both in their business life and their personal life. They're noticing any dangers that could keep them from growing, and they're looking for any opportunities that they might not be taking advantage of and capturing. And they're looking at what capabilities and strengths they already have that they could utilize a lot better. And I said, that's what their life is. And it involves lots of other people. It involves lots of other activities. It's 24/7. And they're either feeling happy or not happy how they're achieving these things. So every quarter, I'm just sitting there and I say, new DOS, new dangers, new opportunities, new strengths, anything popping on the horizon. And then I'll say, well, what about myself, in relationship to those? And I said, well, that's a really interesting government regulation, new tax thing that affects them. I said, how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with that? I just paid attention to this because I'm in my 46th year of coaching, and I just know the world of entrepreneurs. I mean, it's my entire passion. I don't live in any world except the world of entrepreneurs who want to grow, but I do know at the heart of it, it comes down to freedom. And all of them have 4 areas of freedom of their life that they want to experience constant, never-ending growth. And it's they want to have greater freedom of time to passionately focus on what they love about their future. They want freedom of money. First of all, that the quantity of money goes up, but the quality of what kind of money it is, how they earn the money, they want that to get better. Freedom of relationship. They want everybody in their life to be better people. Okay? And they have freedom of purpose, that their whole entrepreneurial life is really about big purposes that they have. And these come in hundreds of different varieties. Okay, so, and I can simply identify as a coach the categories for asking them questions. So all the things that I'm talking about here it's not that it's giving me new answers, it's giving me good questions. So my crop that I harvest and bring to market aren't answers, are great new questions that open up whole new kinds of thinking. And quite frankly, having all my time used up in that fashion, Shannon, I have absolutely no time to pay attention to what any competitors are doing. And I notice that my goal is to always make the experience that our entrepreneurs have with Strategic Coach more valuable to them for their reasons, So I've got to know their reasons, I've been at it for 46 years, and I'm still kind of scratching the surface because they're creating new futures all the time. And I want to be on top of what kind of new futures are my clients creating in their own mind. And therefore, I have a total bias for people who have unlimited ambition. I have total bias towards people who never want to retire.
Right.
I have total bias towards people who only want to do what they love doing and collaborate with other people who have all the other skills. So I have this total bias. And quite frankly, since I haven't paid attention to my competitors over the last 30 years, I just don't have any inclination to start in the future. But the thing is that the whole pricing mechanism that entrepreneurs use to figure out how much they can charge for what they're selling in the marketplace, which is totally determined by what their competitors are charging. They're governed, restricted, limited, stopped by what their competitors are doing, and then the regulatory rules. I'm completely free of that. So I'm just saying, what's the next biggest thing that my best clients are thinking about? And I said, I'm going to come up with questions about that. I'm going to create a thinking tool around that. I'm going to create a new diagram which simplifies. They're seeing it in a very complicated way. I'm going to draw a diagram which really makes it clearer for them. So I'm trying to, as much as possible, run ahead conceptually, creatively, practically, run ahead of them and provide them new tools for the future. And I try not to have any member of the Strategic Coach company paying any attention to competition. And one of my big things is to get all my Strategic Coach entrepreneurs to the point where they don't pay any attention to the competition, but they have this passion for knowing what their clientele is, customers or clients. And I said, treat them as aspirational partners. You're the creative partner, they're the aspirational partner. Both of you are required to create brand new ways of mastering the future. So I'm looking for the most aspirational clients and customers as my clients so that I can see how they're seeing the future and then take the inspiration of their aspirations and use that as raw material for extending the usefulness of the Strategic Coach program.
Wow, that's fantastic. This goes back to my mind to something you've said for decades, and that is innovate, don't compete.
Yes.
And this is a great expansion on that. And the other thing is, in terms of, people's bigger futures, their huge aspirations, is that's where your future value creation is. And that's also where there's greater funds available. If you're only in the present and looking at what the people beside you are doing, it's very competitive, and that's all based on price. So if you actually want to expand your own future, you really have to be focused on what your clientele's future is.
It's not that I'm not interested. First of all, I have a lot of customers and clients who are actually coaches, and for all I know, they're trying to go after the same dollars that we're going after. But my dollars are not present dollars. I'm giving my clients and customers such a big picture of their future that whatever I charge them seems like nothing compared with what they're going to achieve as a result of the help that we're going to give them with Strategic Coach. It's so funny. Last year, I had a brand new group who started with me, and I had about 60 in the room. And I was just adding up the dollars that came with them. They each had to write a check to be in this group. And I added up all the checks, and it was going to be 4 days of my time. So the amount of money that came in was going to be 4 days of my time over the next 12 months. And what I was getting paid for those 4 days was more than what I got paid for the first 4 years of coaching in the program, not one-on-one, but in the program. It was equal to that one workshop with 4 days. And the reason is, all along, we've raised our price in terms of the value that we're creating. And we're only going after the check writers who have huge ambitions and want to be in a setting where everybody in the room is supportive, is enthusiastic, is useful. And so the price of the coach program, it has nothing to do with what other programs are charging, because we're not playing the same game.
What a brilliant way to escape competition.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Dan.